now listening to Off the Tools with the one and only Wayne Bettess.
If you're passionate and driven and focused in what you do, people will take notice. You can achieve anything you want to achieve in life.
The excuses are not valid.
Welcome to the first in hopefully many masterclasses. Today, I am delighted to be collaborating with Ettan Bazil, and I want to introduce the introduction to Zapier. Welcome, Ettan.
Hi, Wayne. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. And thank you, firstly, thank you for taking time out of your day to work with me and bring this mini masterclass to our audience, because it's a power. Well, I'm not gonna talk much about it. I'll let you give it its full introduction. But Zapier is a secret weapon, isn't it? Zapier, whatever you want to call it.
It is, yeah, and yeah, it is however you want to call it. I call it Zapier, you call it Zapier. It doesn't really matter. It's a bit of it's a secret weapon for businesses, especially smaller businesses that want to put a gloss on what they're doing and want to automate, big processes within the business. And it's really about having the presence of a larger company when you're just a small entity, whether you're a one-man band or whether you're a sort of smaller business. And obviously I use it quite heavily. You use it heavily, and I think a lot of people are interested in what it is and what it can do, but don't really understand it, don't really know where to start. And that's, I guess, why we're doing this today.
Yeah, definitely. And
so, yeah.
I'd like to add that it's, even if you know how to use Zapier, it's going to be worth watching this, because we're going to go through. You're going to take us through every step of the way, so that if you're a complete novice and never been on the website before, you're going to be able to be guided through. And even if you have used Zapier before, you're going to hopefully learn a few fundamentals and basic steps ready for the next masterclass. Is that right?
That's right. So today it's an introduction to understand what it is, and to build a few basic automations so that people can just start with something like that. And then further along, we'll build out some slightly more complex automations, and we can start doing some really powerful stuff, but so that everyone doesn't get overwhelmed, and because it's a bit like full on. So that doesn't happen. And for those people that have never used anything like this before, I'm going to start right at the beginning and talk about what it is and what you can do with it. Amazing.
So it's going to be an exciting little journey then. I'm going to hand the reins over to you, Ettan. And if I've got specific questions that pop up as you're going, can I jump in, or do you want me to wait?
Mate.
Yeah.
No, just jump in. Again, it's like an informal. This is really informal. So it's Christmas. We're all kind of winding down. So yeah, just jump in whenever you feel free.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, the first thing we're going to start with is APIs and what an API is and why it's important. And we're going to talk about different types of software and how they talk to each other. So all of you, most of you, will use at least one piece of software to manage your business, and those pieces of software, I call it a tech stack. It's essentially like a stack. If you think of like a pancake stack with different bits of software that help your business to run. The most common types of software that we use are job management softwares like ServiceMate, Commusoft, SimPro, Gas Engineer software. There's lots of them, Powered Now, and that's job management software. And then most of us have some kind of accounting software, such as Xero or Sage or QuickBooks or something like that. And those are the primary pieces of software. There's also marketing software like Lead Hero, or you've got Lead Pal and other things like that. And then you've got quoting software such as like Quotient, and there's loads of other ones out there. And essentially these pieces of software are great on their own, but when it really starts to get magical is when you combine them together. And the way that you combine these pieces of software together is through something called an API. And I'm going to play a short video just explaining what an API is. It's about 3 minutes long because it will explain it a lot better than I can. It's very like American-y, but you know, but it is what it is. It's the best one I could find. So I'm going to share my screen and just share this with you now.
Connectivity is an amazing thing. By now, we're all used to the instant connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. From desktops or devices, we can purchase, post, pin, and pick anything, anywhere. We are connected to the world and each other like never before. But how does it happen? How does data get from here to there? How do different devices and applications connect with each other to allow us to place an order, make a reservation, or book a flight with just a few taps or clicks? The unsung hero of our connected world is the Application Programming Interface, or API. It's the engine under the hood and is behind the scenes that we take for granted, but it's what makes possible all the interactivity we've come to expect and rely upon. But exactly what is an API? It's a question everyone asks. Okay, not really, but we're glad you did. The textbook definition goes something like this. In computer programming, an application programming interface, API, is a set of routines, protocols, and tools for building software applications. An API expresses a software component in terms of its operations, inputs, outputs, and underlying types. Okay, to speak plainly, an API is the messenger that takes requests and tells a system what you want to do, and then returns the response back to you. To give you a familiar example, think of an API as a waiter in a restaurant. Imagine you're sitting at the table with a menu of choices to order from, and the kitchen is the part of the system which will prepare your order. What's missing is the critical link to communicate your order to the kitchen and deliver your food back to your table. That's where the waiter, or API, comes in. The waiter is the messenger that takes your request or order and tells the system, in this case the kitchen, what to do, and then delivers the response back to you, in this case, food. Now that we've whetted your appetite, let's apply this to a real API example. You're probably familiar with the process of searching for airline flights online. Just like at a restaurant, you have a menu of options to choose from. A drop-down menu in this case. You choose a departure city and date, a return city and date, cabin class, and other variables. In order to book your flight, you interact with the airline's website to access the airline's database to see if any seats are available on those dates and what the cost might be based on certain variables. But what if you're not using the airline's website, which has direct access to the information? What if you are using an online travel service that aggregates information from many different airlines? The travel service interacts with the airline's API. The API is the interface that, like your helpful waiter, can be asked by that online travel service to get information from the airline system over the internet to book seats, choose meal preferences, or baggage options. It also then takes the airline's response to your request and delivers it right back to the online travel service, which then shows it to you. So now you can see that it's APIs that make it possible for us all to use travel sites. The same goes for all interactions between applications, data, and devices. They all have APIs that allow computers to operate them, and that's what ultimately creates connectivity. So whenever you think of an API, just think of it as your waiter running back and forth between applications, databases, and devices to deliver data and create the connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. And whenever you think of creating an API, think MuleSoft.
Yeah, so yeah, again, that was a very kind of techie, American-y kind of video, but it should explain what an API is. The way I always think about it is if you think about a piece of software like a shop, and then you imagine two shops across the street from each other, looking at each other across the street, and they want to send mail to each other. Imagine pulling a bungee cord from one shop to the other, and then doing the same from the other shop window over to that shop, and then chucking the mail down on a hook back and forth, and that's what it basically does. And most modern softwares use. So Xero has an API, ServiceMate has an API, Commusoft has an API. They all have APIs, which is essentially a way for them to communicate with each other. However, the traditional way of connecting two pieces of software is to build or develop a integration between them. So ServiceMate has an integration with Xero. It's part of ServiceMate. And many other pieces of software build integrations with each other. However, that's really expensive and really prohibitive. And if you want to connect, let's say, I don't know, your Google Calendar with Twilio, let's say, for example, you can, but you can't build an integration between them because a developer would have to do it, and it's really expensive and it's really complicated. And so because of that, things like Zapier exist, and they're called middleware. And what a middleware is a piece of software that sits in the middle of all these different apps, and all these different apps connect with the middleware rather than with each other. So when they all connect with the middleware, then you can essentially send a message to the middleware, which then sends a message out to another app. And that's what Zapier is. And there's a few of them, but Zapier is the most popular, and it's my favorite. And it's essentially like this. You can connect anything. So you can connect your Instagram to your WordPress site, connect your WordPress site to Google Sheets to Mail. Any app that integrates with Zapier, you can connect together. So it means that you can create really complex automations in your business. Like, for instance, if somebody completes a job, if you complete a job in ServiceMate, you can send a message to your customer telling them that you offer a discount on power flushing, for instance, if that's what you want to push. Or you can add them to a mailing list to send them an email. Or you can send them a message a year later to book in a boiler service if they've just had their boiler service. And I'm going to be building a few of these simple automations with you today to show you how you can do that kind of stuff. Now, we did a poll in Off the Tools recently where we said, like, what would be the most value to get the most value from this? And everyone said that there were two really popular ones. One was when you have a new client in ServiceMate, to send that client an SMS to say, "Hi, thanks a lot for choosing John's Plumbing. Please accept our terms of business," or "Here are our terms of business." And by instructing us, you accept those terms of business. And I'll be building that one with you today. And then the second one was if you complete a boiler service for a customer, to notify them 11 months later that their boiler's due a service and to call the office and book. And those are the kind of really simple but powerful processes you can set up to happen automatically without having to pull out a piece of paper and call everyone every year, because it gets really cumbersome and you just don't need to do it anymore. So I'm going to show you, I've set up a couple of fresh accounts today to be able to do this demo with you. So what I've done is I've set up a Twilio account. For those of you that don't know what Twilio is a piece of software that can send SMSs. It can do voice calling. It's pretty flexible. It's really easy to use. And I set up a Twilio account within about 5 minutes this morning. I just went to Twilio, I created a new account, verified my email address, and that was it. And I set up a fresh ServiceMate account as well, so that for those of you that have ServiceMate, this is going to be really handy to show you how you can connect it via Zapier. I've also set up a fresh Zapier account, but I'm going to show you how to set up an account in Zapier. So if you just literally go to Zapier, it's zapier.com, and it's as simple as just, you can sign up with Facebook, so you can use your Facebook account to sign up. Or the easiest way is to just put your work email here, a first name and last name, and just click get started free. And it's free up to 1,000 tasks, which is quite a lot of stuff. I have a really kind of advanced account because I automate everything, but you can use this for free without a problem. So I'm just going to show you, just firstly, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is the main screen, and essentially it's connect this with this. And how Zapier works is it works on triggers and actions. And triggers and actions are, if something happens in one application, then something will happen in another application. And that is essentially how it works across the board. You can have multiple steps in between. So you can have, if something happens in this application, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. But today, for this this demo, we're going to just do, if this happens in one application, do this in the other application. And we're going to do this with ServiceMate and Twilio first of all, and we're going to basically send an SMS to someone talking about our terms and conditions. So we're going to start by connecting our first app, which is ServiceMate. And as you can see, it finds them for you. So we've got here ServiceMate. We've also got, like I said, just so you know, we've got Commusoft, we've got SimPro. They all integrate with Zapier.
Is Gas Engineer software on there, just out of curiosity?
That's a good question. No, I didn't search that. No, it's not.
No. Okay, well, that's something they need to up their game with then, isn't it?
Absolutely. So they might have a private integration as well. So these are just the public ones.
Yeah.
A lot of companies have private integrations that they can invite you to. I have one for my software, Help Me Fix. And I know that Lead Hero have one because I use it.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies do. So we'll do something simple here. We're going to use ServiceMate to start with. We're going to connect to Twilio because that's what we're doing for the purposes of this demo. And we want, when a new client is added here, to send an SMS. And it's as simple as that. Okay, so that's our layout. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to try it.
So for those that were scared of Zapier, you can already see it's very simplistic at this level, isn't it? Like it's what A, B, C, D, type methodology, isn't it?
It's so easy to use, yeah. I mean, and if you're just doing if this then that kind of automation, so just if one thing happens, then do that thing, it really is very, very easy. Now the first thing you've got to do is you've got to connect Zapier to your software. So you've got to make a connection. So it does walk you through this, and as you can see, it just says connect your ServiceMate account. So we're going to do that now. Like I said, I've just signed up for a fresh ServiceMate trial account. So what it does is it opens up a new window. I'm already logged into ServiceMate, so I'm just going to authorize it. But if I wasn't logged in, it would ask me to make the connection. So I'm just going to allow ServiceMate to access my stuff, Zapier to access my stuff.
There we go.
Okay, and let's just check. So, right, so there we go. Now I'm going to collect my Twilio account. Like I said, I signed up for a trial account prior to this this webinar because I didn't want to waste too much time. But this is really, it walks you through it. So so here it says, will you allow Zapier access to your Twilio account? And then it says to go to Twilio and find these settings. So click this link and then copy these settings in. So that's what we're going to do.
So again, it's literally step by step. It's telling you exactly what to do. So you don't need no technical knowledge at this level, do we?
You don't. No, there's no technical knowledge required.
And I think that's what scares a lot of people. So hopefully already people are seeing, wow, okay, well, maybe I could look at this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. And so if you see here, it said it wants the account SID and a token. And it tells you exactly where it is. It says directly below your account SID. So let's go back in here. And it says here, account SID. So we'll copy that. And then we'll just paste that into here.
And what this is effectively doing, isn't it, is your bungee rope that you were talking about earlier.
It's your bungee rope, yeah. So what you're doing at the moment is you're taking your bungee rope and you're stretching it across to the other shop, or to the geezer in the middle of the road that's your middleware. And then I'm just going to view this, and then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste that there, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, it always breaks, isn't it, when you're trying to do something.
There we go.
I think that we're fine, yeah. And it's saying, what number do you want to send it from? And this number is a number that was generated with my new Twilio account. Right. So this is the bit where you're going to map all of the fields in. All right. So let's what we really want to do is we want to we're just going to go into the actual editor to do this bit, because I think this is a lot more comprehensive. Just give me a sec. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the
view. That's the view that I'm used to seeing. Yeah, I thought
I'm
it
used
looked
to
different.
seeing this view as well. Yeah. So essentially, if you click, when you created your account, if you click Zaps on the left hand side, it will take you to like an overview of all of your automations. And this is the one that we're building at the moment, ServiceMate into Twilio. And we're just gonna click into this and edit it. And we're gonna call this. We're gonna give it a name at the top as well, so that we know what it is. And we're gonna call it new client and ServiceMate SMS returns. So we know what it is. And this is the trigger. So remember, we're talking about trigger and action. So the trigger is when something happens in ServiceMate, and we've already connected our account, but you would essentially choose the app, choose the trigger event, and there's lots of triggers here. So if you have a look, we've got when a new job is created. So if you wanted to like just let a customer know that you'd created a new job for them, or if you wanted that job copied to your Google Calendar, you've got when a form's completed. So this could be like if someone fills out a warning notice form, or if you've completed a benchmark form, or if you've completed a job report. I use this one most heavily. This is when a job's completed. And I'll go through that one with you in the next automation that we'll build. And the one we're going to use today is a new client. So then what we need to do is we need to test that trigger, right? So we need to essentially make sure that this works. Just make sure this is in the wrong account. One sec.
Has it logged you into your main
It's
one?
gone into my elite heating and plumbing account, which we don't want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna delete this connection.
I think you was already there. That you got two.
Yeah, let's just delete this one and just test this one. I'm just going to reconnect this one now.
So obviously, in real life, you wouldn't have had multiple accounts here. So
You'd
it would have been straight. It's only because Ettan's created a demo account, so you're not. So it's not messing up his own accounts that he's got.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So let's just go back into the Zaps. Okay, so this is essentially found a dummy client. So in my ServiceMate account, I'm just going to log in. I've only got one client because it's a brand new account and it's me. So what we're going to do is let's set up a different client. Let's set up a dummy client, and we're going to let's call the client Jangly Finkelstein, because I like weird names. And they're going to live at 15. Brunswick Street, and they're going to live in Leighton Buzzard because that's where I live, and my imagination isn't very good today. In fact, look, it's found somewhere, Leicester. All right, no, they live in Leicester, and we'll call them. The name is Jangly, because I'm weird. And we're going to put the email in there as well. So because we're going to do an automation later with an email, so I'm going to show you. I'll give them a real one. I'm going to use my mobile number as a number. Okay, so we're going to save that. All right, so that's sent a trigger now. Okay, and now we're going to try and load that trigger in. And there he is, Jangly Finkelstone.
Instant, absolute instant, isn't it?
Now, when you're creating triggers, it's very important to know that you go to the test trigger stage first, then you do what it is in the software. So whether it's creating a client or completing a job or whatever it is, whatever your trigger is, and then you go back and then you test it. Because what it does is it looks for what you've just done and then it pulls in all the information. So that's it. So we've got our trigger sorted. And now we're going to send out an SMS. And so we've got Twilio. Alphanumeric sending ID, don't worry about that for now. That's something you can set up in Twilio later, but we haven't got time to do it today. So it's just going to come from our number, our imaginary virtual number here. And this is how you map fields. Essentially, you're going to be doing a lot of field mapping. Because the number is going to be different every time, you need to pull that number in from ServiceMate. So when you put the to number in, just going to zoom in for you here. You've got all this data that was pulled in with your trigger. Okay, so we've got the name, Jangly Finkelstone, the email, contact first name, and we're going to show all the options, and we're going to find the mobile number right here, and that is our to number. Because it's Twilio, you have to put a 44 in front of the number because you've got to put the country code in. So we're just going to do that. Okay, and so now we've got our to number with a 44 in front of it, and that's going to send Jangly a message. So then we're going to personalize this message. So it's going to be part text and part data. And we're going to do it like this. Hi, Jangly, contact first name.
So obviously, just for anyone that isn't aware, where it says contact first name, if there's a new client added that her name is Suzanne, it would obviously use Suzanne's name. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So it's using the field in ServiceMate, the first name field, to personalize this message. Thanks so much for choosing John's Plumbing and Heating. By becoming our customer, you agree to adhere to our terms of business, which can be found here. And I'll just use mine because, again, I don't have a very good imagination. My terms are down here. That's it. We look forward
to building a long and lasting business relationship.
We look forward to having to come round and fix your door because we serviced your boiler and your door now won't close.
This time of year, nothing surprises me.
Serving you now and in 2022. Okay, obviously you wouldn't do that because in the future, because we want this to be an evergreen automation. You know, we don't want any specifics in it really. It all wants to be sort of a bit vague and dynamic. Right. You can send media, although I wouldn't recommend it. And this one's important, large messages. You need to make sure that this one says yes, because otherwise it will cut your message off halfway if it goes over the limit. So we'll just say yes. And we're going to continue. And then it gives you like a kind of, right, this is what we're going to do. And it shows you the first name as it's going to appear. And all of the fields that you choose, it shows you in here. We're going to test that. So you're going to put test and continue. And that was it. An SMS was sent to Twilio. And now let's see if we get it. You can see up there.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Thank you, Jangly. Hi, Jangly. Here are your terms and conditions. And if they click that link, it will take them through our terms and conditions.
Obviously, it wouldn't say it was sent from a trial account when you actually sign up. This is obviously for testing purposes, just so people are aware. Yeah. Exactly
that. So that's a really, really simple one. Okay, so that's basically sending an SMS when something happens in ServiceMate.
And to be clear, Now, if you authorize that and say that's good to go, that will happen every single time
Yeah.
that you do a new client on whatever, in this example, in ServiceMate. So you never have to lift a finger on that front again, do you?
That's right. And so once you set it up, it's what we call evergreen. It lasts forever until you turn it off. So therefore, you've now automated one part of your business. Whether it's, I'll show you through my Zap account shortly and show you what's possible, just to like really confuse you after this. But you can, if you do something more than once and you do it regularly, then you should automate it. And that's what this is for, connecting bits of software to automate stuff. So, and then we're going to just do a second really simple one for you. Again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to switch this on now. So that's there. It's going to be on, and that's active. I'm going to share this Zap in the group afterwards so that you can basically copy it and just replace the accounts so that you've got it. This one is the boiler service one. This is a very, very cool Zap. I use this really heavily. And again, we're going to start with our job management software, because what's going to happen is we're going to use job categories for this. And for those of you that aren't familiar with ServiceMate job categories, they're really powerful, even for reporting and also for automation. So we're going to call this Zap boiler service reminder after, or just like 4 weeks before due date.
And labeling it is very important for especially because when you see Ettan's account later, you'll realise why labeling is important. And I know when I first started on this, that I just like gave flippant like ABC just because I wanted to get started on it. And then I had like 10 Zaps, and it was like, oh, sugar, which one's what's going on? I had to go back through and relabel it and put folders in and make it organised, because it's always best to do that at the beginning. Yeah, take that extra couple of minutes to
configure. You're right, and the folders are hugely important, because you might have marketing Zaps, you might have operational Zaps. So, for instance, we've got Zaps that tell us when to pay our VAT, because I'm terrible at remembering when to pay the VAT. And so I create an automatic email that goes to the office when the employee tax is due, when the VAT is due, when anything needs to happen. We get told like we're 5-year-olds, because between us, especially during silly season, you can't remember everything. Yeah. You can't keep it all in your head. So this one we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna start with ServiceMate, and this one we're gonna choose a different trigger event now. This is gonna be when a job is completed. So we're gonna do triggers when a job status changes to completed. And we haven't completed any jobs yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a job. Let me just choose the account that we've already got. That's fine. We don't have to do that again because we've already done it. And we're going to set up a job in a specific job category now. So I'm going to flip back to ServiceMate. And in the settings, if you're not familiar with how to do this, you've got here on the left, job categories. And for those of you not using job categories, I really recommend that you do. And I created prior to this a new category just called boiler service, but I'll do it again just in case you don't know how to do it. So add a category and you just call it boiler servicing. And in Elite, we have, I think, 40 different categories, some for private domestic customers, some for agents, and different things happen for different categories. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to create a new job for Fangly in that category, boiler servicing. Is it Jangly? Yeah, Jangly. So Jangly Finkelstone, who we know and love. We're going to service Jangly boiler. We're going to create that job, and I'll drop it. And I'm going to drop it here, and then I'm just going to change the status to completed so that we can basically pull in our trigger. I'm going to save that. You can see that job's now completed. and I'm going to choose, we want this trigger to activate only when a job is completed in the boiler servicing category. And as you can see, that's pulled that in from ServiceMate as soon as I've created it.
So now we should see jangly again.
You should see jangly. And here we go. So this is job A. This is jangly, and obviously you've got all this information. It's pulled in all of this stuff. So when it was completed, what was done, you know, is it ready to invoice? What's the address? And we're going to use some of this in our automation now. It's going to be really cool, and we're going to do an SMS and an email this time because we really want to make sure that they hear us because we want them to call us. So we've got our trigger and we've got our data. So the first thing we're going to do is send them an email. So we're going to use, Zapier has its own email system called Zapier Mail. So if you just type mail, you've got here email by Zapier.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Zapier has loads of stuff on its own that it can do. So, and if you haven't got like a bulk mail service like Mailgun, or if you don't have MailChimp or anything like that, then you can just use Zapier's inbuilt stuff. It's got loads of cool bits and bobs. So we'll use email by Zapier, and we're just going to send an outbound email. So it's going to be to the contact email address, which is Jangly's email. So we're just going to choose this one. And it's going to be like your boiler service at, and we're going to pull in an address field here. So your boiler service at 15 Brunswick Street, Leicester is due in 4 weeks' time. Book now. And we're just going to essentially just type it out like a Word document. It will convert it for us into HTML. So then we're going to say, hi, Jangly.
Again, it's very important that you use these, what did you call them? Maps.
The fields, yeah.
The fields.
Fields.
Because we want it to be able to be personalized to each individual, don't we?
That's right, yeah. We service your boiler on, I mean, this is going to give a really like horrible looking completion date, but you could just say, we serviced your boiler last year. We hope that you were happy with the service. Sorry, my typing is a bit off. We're happy with the service. If so, please call us to rebook on 01923 because your service is now due. Thanks. I'm just going to keep it simple. And so we can put in the from name, John's Plumbing Meeting. And you've got all these kind of CCs and blah, 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 and stuff like that. Okay, do we want to read receipt? Yeah, maybe not. No, I'm not going to bother. And that was sent. Okay, so that's been sent.
Simple as that.
So simple as that. So what happens? The job's completed and it sends an email, but we don't want that to happen like that, do we? Because the problem is if that happens, then they're going to think their boiler service is due just straight after it's been serviced. So what do we want to do? We want to delay it. Okay, we want to delay it for 11 months. And this is where you've got time delay zaps come in. So what you can do now is you can put, you see a little plus sign in the middle. You can add an extra step in the middle, okay? And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go back into the Zap. and we're going to add a little step. And it's just opened up a box in between the trigger and the action. And this is where it gets really easy. You're just going to type delay. And you've got here delay by Zapier. And it tells you, what do you want to do? Do you want to delay it for a certain amount of time? Or do you want to delay it until a date or a time that you choose? And we're just going to delay for. So we're going to delay for 11 months. Time. So this is a number. How many of the unit are you going to delay for? We're going to delay for 11. And then we're going to choose. We can't do.
Yeah, load more.
We'll do 52 weeks. How's that? Or 48 weeks. There we go. So we're going to delay for 48 weeks. So essentially 11 months. We're going to continue. Dates come up. This is always where it goes wrong, doesn't it? Okay.
I think, Ettan, if you go back to the action, go to weeks, and then go to load more. Will it not go to months there?
No, there's no more months there.
I wonder if it's because you're on the free version on this one.
Yeah, probably. If you so essentially, if you can delay for a longer amount of time, but that is essentially a zap where you create a trigger, you delay for a certain amount of time. We'll basically just do.
Or is it? Sorry to jump in. If you go back to the action, maybe choose there was a couple of other options, wasn't there? In the delay. So rather than it be a delay, there was.
Yeah, so we can delay for.
No. Before that. Sorry, mate. Choose app of an event.
Oh, I see what you mean. So delay until.
Maybe that's where delay for 8 weeks for 48 weeks. It might let you do it that way rather than delay until or. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Might be a work around it.
Well, look, there's lots of different things that you can set up. Just for the purposes of this, I'm not gonna sort of fiddle around with this too much at the moment. Yeah. But this is to just show you how you can trigger, delay it. So we'll just do something simple. We're going to delay for just what we're allowed to at the moment on this. So we'll delay for 3 weeks. And that is a trigger and an action with a delay step in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we can also bolt on an extra step at the end where we can then send them also an SMS. And it's just like the other one. Use the same account. Use your Twilio from number. You choose Jangley's mobile number with a 44 in front of it. Remember to put the 44 because otherwise it throws a wobbly. And then you just put hi Jangley. Hi. The boiler at. I'm going to put the address in here, the job address.
I find more personalization the better, really. I think
exactly, yeah.
It means it looks less automated then, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So first names, always go with first name rather than like full name, because if you go for full name, it looks really automated, especially if you've got like salutations and things. So if you can grab the first name, it always feels a bit more personalized. Call John's call. 01923 66757 to book in. Thanks. Coming and heating. And then we're gonna remember just check this to yes. And then continue. And here's your message. Hi Jangley, the boiler at 15 Brunswick Street, Leicester, LE1 2LT is due for a service. Please call 01923 606 757 to book in. Thanks, John's Plumbing and Heating. And this was sent, and I'm just going to, again,
there we go.
okay, so it's all pretty automated, and that's basic Zapier. So you can connect anything. So that job, if it's booked in ServiceMate, you could copy it over to Google Calendar. You can carry on adding steps, as many as you want, but just bear in mind that the more complicated you make it, the more likely it is to break. So try and keep it simple, try and keep them short and non-contrived. And I'm going to just quickly show you my account and show you what's possible.
Here we go, guys and girls. Welcome to Aladdin's or Ettan's cave, should I say?
Ettan's cave, exactly that. So I'm just going to log into my Elite Heating one, and log in. So these are my. Yeah, sorry, mate. Go on.
I just really want to stress this point that the work you do here, right? So if you spend an hour or two doing these, for example, right? That's done. It's done. And you're going to leverage that day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So this is when you hear people talk about leveraging time and automating their business, this is the stuff that they're talking about. This is the actual things that let you do that. So you don't want to underestimate the power of all of this.
Yeah. So the smart business owner nowadays is the person that leverages something again and again and again and again. So you have to set it up once and then you essentially reuse it over and over again. Because otherwise, all you're doing is admin. All you're doing is running around. Writing things out and jotting down notes, and it's soul destroying. And what you really want to be doing is, I know I'm sorry to use this old phrase again, but you want to be working on your business rather than in your business. So you want your business to be running smoothly and almost running itself, and for you to be able to step back and take a look inside so that you can start to devise strategies, and you can focus on the things that matter. And this helps. It's not like a magic solution, but it helps because it frees up your time. So I'm going to show you how we free up our time. Obviously, these are my folders. So obviously you can see I've got a lot of stuff on the go. But I'm going to focus on Elite, and in Elite's folder, we've got 45 Zaps. Right. So this one this is a drainage engineer Zap. All right. So we use Simply Drainage. For our drainage callouts, and that we work really well with them. And what I wanted to do was, when we had a drainage job come in, to not have to call Steve, send him a text, send him an email, blah, 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 blah. So this one, when a drainage job comes in, our ops manager creates a job in the drainage category. It automatically emails Steve all of the tenant's details. It automatically sends him an email with all of the details of the job. And then it sends the property manager an email to let them know that we've contacted Steve and have assigned the job to him. And that all happens automatically. This is if someone applies to become an elite engineer on our website. It starts off like an email campaign, which asks them for certain stuff, asks them to submit their CV, asks them about themselves. This is a first service text reminder after a boiler replacement. This one's a good one. When we replace a boiler, 24 hours later, it asks them to check the pressure and top it up.
Nice. Like
to
that.
Avoid a recall.
Blatantly nicking that one.
Yeah, because we were sick of getting phone calls the day after to say, you've just fitted my boiler and it's broken. Even though the engineer said to them at the time, make sure that the pressure might go down. So this physically checks them and say, go and check the pressure on the boiler if it's a sealed system, and can you top it up to 1 bar? If you're not sure how to do it, please call the office. This one, when we replace a boiler, this sends an email to the office to register the warranty when the job has been completed. When a customer books a boiler service, this sends them an SMS just before the engineer is en route to tell them that if they book a service plan, they get £25 off their bill.
What a fantastic idea. Where did you get that from? Wayne Service Plan Success Training available on my website.
That's right. This one is also this is another way of doing that boiler service text reminder. So again, I did it in a slightly different way this time. So I formatted using date and time, and then I went 11 months after the completion date.
There you go.
So that's how we do it. So rather than using the delay step, use a format step. And if you're not sure, just message me. I will tell you how to do it. You create a format step. You take the completion time and date of the job, and then you plus 11 months, and then it basically does the time delay. So sorry about that. That was my mistake. But again, quite simple. In fact, I can probably, if I've got time, I can go in and just alter that Zap, because I'm going to share it with you. Before I share it with you, I will alter that Zap so that it has the format step in it. Then we've got, these are really complicated. You're not really going to want these ones. This is the tax reminder. So this reminds us to pay our PAYE. This is to do with service plans. So this is complex. So we'll look at this later on. This is a complex multi-step Zap. So we'll look at this later on. These ones are connectors between ServiceMate and our sales and marketing automation suite Lead Hero. Depending on the category of the job, we apply different tags. So we can, let's say, for instance, if it's a bathroom replacement, we can send them marketing campaigns just around bathrooms and maybe upkeep of their staff. Maybe we can cross-sell them a softener to keep their new bathroom all in nice and sparkly so it doesn't scale up. Again, boiler replacement one, we can then follow up with like hives and service plans and things like that. And it just puts the lead, it attaches a tag to the lead in Lead Hero. We've got lots and lots of those. We've got ones that connect LinkedIn ads to Lead Hero, our sales and marketing suite. New service plan signups. They just go on and on. This one's one of my favorites. This is the power flush disclaimer. So basically saying if it's a power flush, I'll just go into this one very quickly. So if a new job is created and it's a power flush, then it sends them an email basically saying, look, we're going to power flush your system, but if it explodes, it's not our problem. So this is like, a power flush is not designed to cure any faults with central heating components. A power flush would improve the performance, but it won't do this, blah, 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 covering yourself. And that's all done automatically. So when they say, you power flush my system and now 3 radiators don't work, you can say, well, you've probably got a hard blockage and we told you that in the disclaimer that you received, but you don't know it's happening. It happens automatically. So anyway, the sky's the limit.
Love that.
Lots you can do.
That's so much more advanced than mine. You know, I suppose my business is a little bit more simplistic because of the nature of it, but that just shows how much you can automate, how much time. You imagine you weren't automating that and you were stuck, like probably so many people, having to manually do all of this, or worse, not even doing it at all, so leaving themselves exposed on so much areas. It's crazy, isn't it?
That's it. And we've got Rachel, who runs Elite Heating and Plumbing, the office. She's the ops manager, and we've got 13 staff. So we would have to have 3 Rachels to be able to do all of that admin. So it's saving money, it's saving time, and like you say, it's covering yourself as well. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to share those. I'm going to alter and share those apps. If anyone would like to learn more about Zapier and look to more complex stuff like formatting and paths and things like that, we can do another session in 2022. And then obviously, if you've got any technical questions, one-off questions, you can always post them in Trade Tech, which is my Facebook group.
And yes, so that was where I was just going to go next. We'll put a link to Ettan's group, which is more technology based. Obviously, you're welcome to posting off the tools as well. But if you want direct questions on Zapier and things like this and tech and real tech based stuff, go ahead over there. And most importantly, we need to, if you're interested and you've enjoyed this, okay, we're not going to go and produce another 2, masterclasses on Zapier more advanced unless people want it. So please comment on the posts, message us and tell us, look, I'd love to learn more on this. because then we will make it. We will produce it for you. So, but we need your feedback, and we need to know that you're interested and want that information.
Exactly that. Like if you're asleep, then there's no point.
Exactly. So
hopefully it will help.
Is that we're going to close off session 1? Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it, mate. So yeah, again, any questions, just post them in off the tools, post them on the thread. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Thanks for having me on again, Wayne. It's been good.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for watching, everybody, and keep your eyes peeled for the next episode. See you soon, guys.
Bye.